Now, after the failed assassination attempt on former U.S. President Donald Trump, U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle has resigned. She told Congress on Monday that the attempted assassination was the most significant operational failure at the Secret Service in decades and took full responsibility for the lapses in security that day. President Joe Biden has also reacted. He has said, and I quote, "Jill and I are grateful to Director Kim Cheatle for her decades of public service. She has selflessly dedicated and risked her life to protect our nation throughout her career in the United States Secret Service. We especially thank her for answering the call to lead the Secret Service during our administration, and we are grateful for her service to our family. The independent review to get to the bottom of what happened on July 13th continues, and I look forward to assessing its conclusions," end quote, is what Joe Biden has said. So that is the piece of news that's coming in on the international front. Remember the shockwaves around the globe after the failed assassination attempt against former U.S. President Donald Trump during that rally in Pennsylvania. Those visuals on your screen, which has rallied the entire MAGA base as well as the Republicans around Donald Trump. But now the head of the U.S. Secret Service has now resigned after an intense grilling by the U.S. Congress. Calls from both Democrats and Republicans for her to step down. To get more details, I'm joined by my colleague Akanksha Swaroop on the broadcast. So Akanksha, this was bound to happen as Biden has also exited the race and the Democrats want to take the heat away from them when it comes to this entire scandal surrounding Donald Trump.
Very rightly pointed out, Ayushman, there were calls for her resignation from both sides of the aisle. And in fact, the last nail to the coffin was her appearance at the House Oversight Committee on Monday, where she admitted that she had failed and she was the reason why the Secret Service also failed. Remember, there were calls primarily from the Republicans as well as the Democrats, from Republican John Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, to Republican Ro Khanna, to Marjorie Taylor Greene. They all had nearly shamed her at this hearing, and her testimonies were shocking to say the least, because she was not really able to answer all those pointed questions that were directed to her during that House Oversight Committee testimony that she was given. She was given very pointed questions. Why was Trump allowed on stage when there was a threat to his life? She said that the Secret Service had no much detail. Otherwise, they would not have allowed Trump on stage. At the same time, she was asked about why there was no agent placed on the roof where the gunman, Thomas Crooks, fired from. Having said that, the calls had become extremely burgeoning by Monday end. So Tuesday is when her resignation has arrived just a while ago on expected lines. As we also heard, you were reading out President Joe Biden's statement where he said that we all know what happened that day. It can never happen again. In fact, he's talked about how he wishes Kim all the best and that they do plan to appoint a new director soon. Who will be, in fact, replacing Kimberly Cheatle is something that we are, yet to know. But important to highlight that she's had a very prolific past. She's somebody who was appointed as the director of the Secret Service to oversee the protection of current and former presidents back in the year 2022. She, by then, had already served 27 years at the agency, Ayushman. And I'd like to inform our viewers that during her time as an agent, Cheatle was, in fact, even involved in evacuating Vice President Dick Cheney from the White House during the September 2001 attacks. She also went on to become supervisor of Mr. Biden's protective detail when he was vice president during Barack Obama's time. So it's extremely tragic that she's had to take the entire blame for this incident. But important to highlight that House Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have now announced a bipartisan task force that will be investigating the Trump assassination that had taken place on 13th of July, where, remember, 2 people were even left injured, 1 had even lost his life, and Donald Trump was grazed by a bullet. So much now being placed on Kim Cheatle's own shoulders as she now tenders in that resignation.
Right.
But as has already been highlighted by the House Oversight Committee and President Joe Biden himself, that this is just a step in sort of seeking that accountability accountability in terms of that assassination attempt.
Absolutely. That was the pressure on the Biden administration to take that action against the Secret Service, given the fact that this was a huge security lapse which could have led to the death of former U.S. President Donald Trump. But thank you, Akanksha, for joining us on the broadcast and decoding that story.